Hello, everyone.
Hi,
My name is M9,
and I'm Nixie, and this
and this is Out of Character. Today we have what is the most anticipated guest that I've had since we started. We've been trying to get him on since episode 1. CircaSkys,
yeah.
aka Josh. Hey Josh, how's it going?
It's going great, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, we're excited to have a chat with you. Hello, everyone in chat. Welcome.
Hi, Chad.
Thanks for all the follows, everyone, and the sub.
I'm back this week.
Yeah,
I'm actually
Nixie
here.
is back. She's feeling better. She's got her voice back. Welcome back,
For the most
Nixie.
part. I had COVID last week, so I wasn't on the podcast.
Damn, everyone's getting sick these days, man. It's been crazy.
Yeah, I got it from freaking family on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I was so mad.
A lot of sick people. Josh, how's it going? Let's start with that. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I got the holiday blues,
Yeah,
being honest. Yeah. Holiday blues are definitely a thing this year.
I feel that.
You know, we're making do. Doing what we can, surrounding yourself with good company and good people, and taking care of moms.
Yeah, I
Pretty
feel
awesome.
that for sure. I feel that. Yeah, it's for different reasons for different people. It's kind of a tough holiday season, but yeah, making do with what we got and trying to get through it.
That's all we can do, right?
Yeah, for sure. Guys, for anybody that's new, welcome to Out of Character. This show is a show that we created for our community because we thought it'd be interesting to kind of get to know each other and get to know different aspects of the community, such as like role players, server owners, modders, and things like that. And we've already had several different guests. You can find us all in podcast forms wherever you listen to podcasts as well. If you don't make it to the live streams, but we are going to be just hanging out and asking a couple of questions.
And we talked to all different kind of people, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just regular role players, people who stream, people who don't, modders. Like, we had, was it Lady Werewolf, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked to Lady
Last
Werewolf.
week, who was an ARC sponsored modder, and now we have obviously Josh, who's huge in the roleplay community.
Huge.
Huge in the roleplay community. Like,
and like
a
I said
lot of people know who Josh is.
And like I said in previous weeks, Josh, the reason I got into role playing was CircaSkys.
Oh god, Peter Rivers, right?
Peter Rivers, yep.
Oh my.
That fucking
Can I
name.
curse on this show or?
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
Okay, all right, good.
I swear all the time. Don't worry. That was a conversation we had early on. We're like, are we gonna swear? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of those
I
things that
can't
maybe we
stop
shouldn't
myself.
for like age appropriateness, right? For better audience, but then we're like, fuck it.
Literally.
If we need to go age appropriate, we can bleep it later. Like, let's be
All right.
real.
Good.
Yeah, for sure. So Josh, I just gonna ask you a couple of questions. We'll take questions from the chat as well. Why not? But maybe we'll leave them for a little later on. So let's start off with the one question we ask everyone, and that's basically what got you into RPing and how did you start off?
Okay. Well, I think it would be my sister that got me into role playing.
Oh.
Tabletop D&D. You know, some of the out of the box D&D campaigns with the booklet that came with it. I remember playing that in like middle school and high school. And then it just kind of evolved from there. I actually have done a few LARPing sessions in the middle of the woods with like all those people and the foam swords.
No way.
Beanbags for spells and shit. Yeah.
Wait,
I've
beanbags
always done
for
it.
spells? Is that how they do it?
Yeah,
I've
literally.
never seen LARPing.
That's great.
All of this was for my sister. After she introduced me to D&D, I started running my own sessions with my close friends. We're actually listed in a custom dice rolling game called Wildside. Did that when my sister was up at UConn for college. And then really, game-wise, I was always a single player gamer, you know, RTS strategy games, SimCity, The Sims, that kind of shit. And then little me in high school found Minecraft.
Oh
Mhm.
no.
Yeah, that's what started the spiral. So it was like junior, senior year of high school, I played Minecraft. And I started with text-based RP. And that was
Wait,
a
did you
blast.
text-based in Minecraft?
Yeah, it was text-based RP in
Okay, yeah.
Minecraft. Yep.
Because I started text-based, but I started text-based on 4. So
A lot of people did start on forums. I wasn't that way. Like I said, it was so. I played on a survival Minecraft server, mind you, where basically anyone could blow up your base. I built a castle, and this guy raided me. So I raged in all chat, and I was like, "Who fucking raided me? How dare you?" Yeah, all that kind of shit. And I kid you not, this is how my roleplay started. He got scared that I was raging in chat, came by, dropped off all the shit I stole from him, and offered to work for me to rebuild. And when he was working to rebuild, I pretty much was like, I'm the king and you're my slave, for lack of a better expression. And you're gonna do everything I tell you to do. And then more people started joining our group. And I named the kingdom Avalon. And I don't know if I have screenshots. I'll have to find them at some point. We built up this medieval-based village. Terrible building skills at this point.
obviously,
You know, squares, water accents, lava accents.
Not the
just a joke.
circa standard we know
you
nowadays.
can't
No.
start.
God no,
great.
God no.
You have to start somewhere.
And then the server went down. So I started playing factions, and we kept our Avalon group, and we would build like castles on faction servers and shit, and get raided, and then that server went down, and then I put up my own, and eventually faction PvP turned into Kingdoms of Avalon, where it was factions, but it was roleplay based, and we had to actually build the towns in Minecraft and host the events and text-based RP, and it was a blast. And then from there, it moved to different games. Yeah, that's how it started, man.
See, that's awesome
So how did
because
you get to art?
I actually did not even know any of that, of how you started, and we've known each other for what, 6 years?
Sure.
So like, you touched on it a little bit, but what exactly was your driving force to start your own? Was it, like the just lack of control, like creative control, or what?
So, contrary to popular belief, I wasn't always a control freak. I spent hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on this faction-based server in donations. And our group was awesome. It's where I met a bunch of people that are still in the community. And then the server owner took it down and was bragging about how he bought a laptop off of the donations and said, "Fuck you guys." So I was like, I think I was like freshman in college. I was a fish guy at a pet store. I had no money, but sure shit enough, I put up a server. It was like $30. And it ran like complete shit. So laggy, bro. We would get DDoS all the time.
Oh,
that's when like script kiddies could just ping Minecraft servers. You know, DDoS protection wasn't even a thing then.
Yeah.
And I swear, it just kind of evolved. But believe it or not, I got really broke, like super broke. And I couldn't even afford to pay my internet. So the server died, and I disappeared for the whole summer. Like probably 6 or 8 months. No one from the internet world heard from me.
Wow.
And yeah. And I came back online, and it was Skype then. And all these people had messaged me on Skype. And they're like, "Bro, where the fuck have you been, man? We miss you. We love you. Hope you're okay." And a couple of people that knew me from Minecraft. There was this kid named Mather. That was his like username. He was probably 11 when I met him. And I'm some fucking 21-year-old. I was like, "Hey, bro, sorry. I miss you. I hope you're doing good." And he's like, "You're like the only brother I've ever had, man. I miss you. I thought you died or something." And he's like, "We've all been talking about how we want to play Minecraft and hang out with you again." And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Whatever. Okay, cool." and I didn't really think anything of it. And then I started like just talking to them, and I realized a lot of these kids wanted to play. It's like, fuck it. All right, fine. Let's put up a server. So I put up a survival with medieval-esque themed server. And God, I still remember the guy. He was some Swedish guy, and I'm pretty sure his name was like Helvet Wolf or something like that. And he donated $25. It's my first donation. He's like, I love this server. Thank you so much for hosting it. We're so happy to be here. And I still have the screenshot of that first donation I ever got by hosting the server.
Aww.
It's like when you make your first dollar at a store, you put it
No,
up.
seriously.
Yeah.
And all he got was a set of diamond tools, not even enchanted, and a world guarded protected region. It was like a 10x10 that had chests in it so no one could raid it. Because ender chests, I don't even think existed in Minecraft at this time, right?
Right.
And then I lost a bunch of money. You know, I was a stupid kid in college. I had nothing. And school got busy and I disappeared again. And then sure shit enough, another couple of months later, we put up a server again, played Minecraft, and shit just took off. And that's when it got really big. So yeah, like I said, I really didn't do it outside of just being able to play with these people that I met online that wanted to play with me. And it was all TeamSpeak based and Skype based, and
TeamSpeak days.
you know, it grew slowly.
If you wanted a time reference on when this was.
Yeah, for sure.
When TeamSpeak was big, yeah.
You know, at that point, a dedicated server for like 8 gigs of RAM and, you know, maybe 2 gigahertz processors was like $500. It was terrible back then.
Oh, damn.
But yeah, and then as the friend group evolved and, you know, Minecraft started to get a little boring, Ark came out.
Right.
We were all like, oh, this game is so freaking cool. I remember this one guy, his name was Dustin. He had one mammoth, and all he would do was cut trees with the fucking mammoth, bro. And we started building little medieval-based structures in square form on our private Ark server that like 8 of us played on. And of course it was, you know, official rates, because I didn't know you could change server settings back then.
Right.
And we didn't really roleplay, but we also didn't really PvP. It was kind of like a hybrid of sorts.
Right, like light RP type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I skipped a final to tame a level 8 Bronto. Didn't care. It took too long.
God.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
God, I remember those days of official rates.
Oh, man.
And then, you know, Ark had its issues, you know? It was a terrible game at start.
Oh, yes.
So we went back to Minecraft and did a couple more Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings seasons.
Oh, so you actually went back. Interesting.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And a touchy subject for me. I saw this announcement of this Ark server. It's called Seven Kingdoms Roleplay, bro.
Magic words.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We don't say that on this stream.
And I was like, wow, that's cool. We do Game of Thrones and Minecraft, and they're doing an Ark. That's pretty fucking sick. And I applied, and I got whitelisted. And I played for like all of a half hour. And I log off. And then I was still doing the Minecraft server shit, and my community was getting big, and we started talking about Discord and how cool this new app was, and what should we do about it? Should we switch from TeamSpeak to Discord for our communities? And then I watched that dude, Mr. Moon. He had a video on YouTube. Yeah, he had a video on YouTube about Vikings. He was Viking roleplay in Ark, and I was sold. His characters, the text, like the voice-based RP, I was like, that is fucking cool. I need that.
Yeah,
and
hell yeah.
This guy I used to talk to Bunch, and a bunch of us saw that video. We watched it in TeamSpeak together and were dying laughing. And we put up a little Viking server in Ark. And it maybe had like 10 people. That's when, do you remember that big Ark map that came out first? It was a Viking themed one. I forget what it was called. People at Ragnarok made it.
I'm not sure.
Not
what is that?
Valhalla, right? No.
That sounds familiar. I think it might be.
That's the one people really play on now, isn't it?
No, that's
Well,
Valguero that you're thinking of.
That's Valguero.
I don't remember the first server.
I think it's
or first
Valhalla.
map. I think you are right. And that was shit. It did not go very well.
Yeah, because I remember that was the first modded map that I played on, and it was bad. Also,
Yeah, it was really bad. It was really bad. So then, you know, we just kept, the community as a whole just kept kind of bouncing back and forth between little Ark attempts and Minecraft. And Minecraft, obviously, as you know, like I had severe success with Minecraft. You know?
Right. Just going back to your roots, it's always like safe sometimes, right?
For sure, especially when it was very lucrative, very, very lucrative in the 2013, 2014, 2015 years. That popped off. 2016 was a little slow, and then Scorched Earth dropped for Ark, and Too High and a bunch of us were all on Scorched Earth playing together. And I remember looking up. We were walking in the valley. It was the first time ever, and I just saw this fire wyvern flying, and it was, you know, obviously the fire wyverns don't look anything like the Game of Thrones dragons at the time, but seeing that was so surreal to me. I was like, I have to do this. So I got whitelisted on that SKRP server again. Started playing Peter Rivers. Met the Zul'jin dude and Drax and all those guys.
Yeah, which is how I came into
Yeah,
Circus
yeah.
life. Yeah.
And then from there, it's been Ark, with obviously flavors of GTA in there, and Conan a couple attempts here and there. And
Yeah, so that actually leads me to my next question. So you've hosted, as you've been saying, servers on these different type of games. So what is it exactly that you look for in a game that will drive you to taking your community there?
taking my community there. Rephrase the question one more time, just so I understand.
Like, what is it that you look for in a game that you feel your people, your community will enjoy in an RP setting, or like what drives you to think of a game and say, oh, this will be perfect for my people?
It's a very selfish drive, if I'm honest. 80% of the time, if I enjoy the game, then I know for a fact I can show people how to enjoy it too.
Right.
And that's most of the reason behind the CircaSkys claims and all that.
Yeah, but I think that's indirectly selfish, because when you really think about it, right? Like, when you love something or you really enjoy doing something, sharing it with others only makes it that much better. And then other people's excitement will be reflected on your own. And I mean, you and I and like Toki and some of the other people that have been around for a while, we even got like a group together for The Forest, and we enjoyed playing that for a long time. So it was like, it kind of depends, right? Because anything that you're not enjoying but you're forcing yourself to do, it comes across.
Yeah, and I know that people have always said, like, the servers where I'm having the most fun tend to do the best. And it might sound a little full myself, but obviously I put in a hell of a lot more effort, and it does carry through to the player base.
Right.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. If I can really vibe with the game, then I know it's something I could probably turn into a community-based function that is both community service as well as profit-based income.
Yeah. Because we've also had some failures in our
100%
in our career
100%.
with some games. What is it? Dark and Light being one.
Oh God, Dark and Light. I played
also,
that one season of that. It was fun.
Last Oasis. You know, there's things that we've tried that just don't work.
Even Atlas.
Atlas.
Which is saying something, because I love Atlas. I'll be honest. If I literally could play Atlas instead of Ark, I would. If I felt the community would jump on it as much as I think they could. And you know, honestly, if I had more free time and more leeway with regards to funds, I probably could make an Atlas server actually.
Isn't the big thing about Atlas is that it's ridiculously expensive to run a big server?
There's nothing more expensive than GTA.
Oh, really?
Swear to God. Yeah. So truth be told, I think with Atlas, it's just I'm too much of a pussy to jump. It could work. It would take a lot of work, and Arc is just too safe to make that jump. Yeah. Honestly, it's just genuinely is this fun? Do I enjoy it? Yep. Okay, let's try it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Atlas is kind of a good example of how sometimes that doesn't work. What you just stated is like you can enjoy something and want to play it, but sometimes the community just doesn't respond to it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, GTA's that. You know, GTA unfortunately has a retention span for player base in this community of like 2 weeks. Right. And I'll tell you, I probably have spent collectively over the past 4 years, probably around 40 grand on GTA assets.
Yeah, it's insane.
Just have it.
God.
Literally, to have it never work that's why I'm so done now. I'm just like, all right. Because I just this recent attempt, M9, we put in 11, 12 grand.
Yeah.
To make it as good as it was, and it
so expensive.
It just didn't pan out. It
and
really
that's
didn't.
Insane because like
and that's just for like assets and stuff.
Scripts, labor,
dev time, yeah,
everything, all of it.
And that's insane because like I was having a lot of fun as well as other people, but it's like you said, it's the retention of GTA itself. There's only like so much you can do before you're just doing the same thing over and over again, living in like a current day type of thing. So it's like it's hard because sometimes people want to step away from that, which I feel like is the reason medieval servers or fantasy servers tend to be more successful.
Well, when you can put yourself into a place that you can't go in real life because you're going into some fantasy place or you're going into, because like GTA is so close. You're talking about pop culture. You have cell phones, you have cars. That's stuff that we have now. So being able to put yourself into a fantasy realm that you can't go as a person is something that I really feel like a lot of more people are drawn to.
100%.
Just in role play, like strictly, like just in role play, even just in games, like people like to go places that you're not going to go in real life.
Exactly.
The future, the past, whatever.
And like when you think about GTA, what can I do differently than I do in real life? Sure, I'm half Italian, but I'm not a fucking mobster, you know? So I could do that. Or I could drive to fucking Bridgeport and pretend I'm a baller, but I could do it in GTA.
Had to say Bridgeport. Huh?
I did. It's Connecticut's asshole. What do you want from me? You know, like I could roleplay a doctor. And then
you could be a famous talk show host.
Fair. And then of course there's the fucking the police department. The function of, much like our Arc server experiences, if you don't have a core integral police department, your server will die. Period. And I don't know if it's because I'm black or life, but if the server owner isn't about being a cop, it does not work. And I fucking never want to be a cop.
Yeah,
so
that's the experience we've had. I think because we've both been cops before on your server, and I think it's always gone better when you are a cop. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know, sometimes you just don't want to do that.
No, I'd rather gouge my eyes out than fucking pretend to be an officer and pull people over. You know what I mean? Like, it's so reactive roleplay, which I'm an active roleplayer. I want to be creating shit. And I could put my car in the center of the street with the fucking lights on and be like, ma'am, sir, pull over, if they decide to use that road, right? There's only so much content a cop can actually create. It's a very reactionary role, and that just doesn't work.
Yeah, yeah.
I will never understand the people who decide to go roleplay as like working at Burger King or something. So I'm like, that's just like
facts. Yeah,
real
I get you.
life. I can't. Like, no,
Yeah.
thank you. I don't want to
And the
work
problem
with
that you have with that is that there's so many alternatives in GTA, and that you might never see anybody come to your restaurant, or
No.
like if you're just passively sitting there waiting for RP.
Yeah, and like I lost a bet in high school and worked at McDonald's for a week. Why the fuck am I gonna want to make burgers for a bunch of jackasses?
Like, why would I want that in my game? That's way too close to real life. Thank you very much.
You know what I don't understand is like how there's role players that are cops in real life and cops in game. Like I get I get that you're good at your job and you can bring some immersion into the server, but why the fuck would you want to do that? I don't know, it's just not me.
I'm a firm believer that anyone that says they're a cop in GTA in real life is full of shit. They probably are a 12-year-old with a badge, or that senator
This little
candidate that pulled that
honorary
out
badge.
And a
Yeah.
voice changer. Ugh,
Yeah, I think
medical
that's a
RP.
big problem with GTA though, is that it's very reactionary. You have to have people who will start things in order for anybody on the server to get things done, which makes it so difficult because you're just waiting for somebody to do something, and sometimes it just kind of goes dead.
So on a different side of the conversation, Josh, what is a game that you wish you could bring role playing to that is just either not a thing or you just haven't been able to?
All right. Well, the obvious Atlas, definitely.
Mhm.
And if I had more time, I think I probably could do it if Joe continues to mod for me and shit like that.
Yeah.
But strictly any game in the world at all that I could bring roleplay to.
Yes.
That's a really good question.
To me, as an example, is Skyrim. I would just
that could be cool. That could be cool.
And there is a multiplayer mod that works fairly well now, but it's just, I don't know, it would take too much. There's no proximity voice chat or anything, so it doesn't work. But Skyrim, I love the world. I love the gameplay. I wish it was a thing.
I honestly would have to say, damn, this is a really good question. Probably, if I could bring roleplay to it, from my community, it would be taking Westeros to Conan. Yeah, I would definitely jump on that too.
I have been waiting for you to do that for so long. Like ever since I started, you brought up a Conan server, as a trial
briefly
thing. Yeah.
Yep.
And there were some cool things that I really enjoyed about it, and that was my first time playing Conan, even though you had, I think, tried it previously when it was still kind of shit. And ever since then, I joined a different community that was doing RP because you kind of stopped doing it, and ever since that moment, there were certain things about Conan that I'm like, we can do Game of Thrones here. We can do it. And then there was like an expansion map or something like that. I'm like, we can do Game of Thrones here. And I was like, damn it, Josh.
M9 got me on Conan just recently, so I'm learning just what you can do in that game is pretty awesome.
So the biggest problem with Conan, from a server perspective, server owner perspective, 70 player limit, terrible.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's bad.
A lot of the back end code, from my experience, is pretty dog shit. The structures, the big buildings, that kind of stuff. Which obviously, Westeros is a world. It's iconic for its castles.
Right.
Not, its characters too, but the castles have as much heroism applied to them and symbolism applied to them as some of the main characters. And if you can't have a Winterfell that you see and you're like, fuck, this is the North, you're never gonna get it.
Right.
So a lot of the restrictions, and then of course, the Conan player stigma. No disrespect to you guys as
no,
Conan
we've
players,
talked about that.
No.
We've actually discussed that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's just there's when you think Conan, I didn't play Conan for so long because of that stigma as well as
Yeah.
you think of it as the ERP central of roleplay. Like it's where
Well-
people go to roleplay being naked.
Here's the thing, though. I'm not even talking about the sex side of things. That's a given.
Ooh.
I'm talking about the free form. I'm a fucking fairy. No, I'm a god. No, I'm
Right.
a demon. No, I'm
Oh,
a
yeah.
demigod. That shit is just so cringe to me.
I completely understand that because there is like this huge sense of when I first joined that other community and they were like, and permas are voluntary, and I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Like the first
Yeah.
thing I said, it was like, you don't have to perma your character if you don't want to, and I'm like, wait, like even if the RP calls for it, you can choose not to.
I've seen that a lot though. Like that's kind of a community based.
It is because, but like not in Josh's server because Josh is.
Well, obviously not
Josh don't
Josh,
give
but
a
like
fuck.
I've seen it across a lot of different servers where promos are voluntary.
But I do agree on the fact that there's a lot of these people that are afraid to give vulnerabilities to their characters that that have a solution to everything. It's like,
Yep.
no, my magic protects me from that. Come on, like really? Like, can you just be vulnerable? Like, vulnerability adds to your character, but some people just want to be like what you said, gods that are
Mhm.
like all powerful and not weak.
A lot of those games facilitate the the snowflake mentality of you just
Mhm.
can't lose. I was thinking about it. Another game that would be sick, absolutely sick, if you could host a private server for and roleplay. New World.
Yes.
If you could take
I
out the
actually played that
fucking
one.
the idiot devs from Amazon and have your own goddamn server with 400 or 500 people that were active like our Arcandies, that would be some shit.
I completely agree because I think when we were playing it, I only played it for a little bit, but when we were playing it, like I was like, holy shit. Like the way the world looks, the way that it feels, I was like, this could be an RP thing. Also for me, another one, just to throw it out there, Cyberpunk.
Never played it.
I love me some sci-fi, and I would love Cyberpunk. Supposedly there was like they were gonna release like 5M's version of Cyberpunk at some point, but I don't know if that's
God.
I don't know if that's happening, but
I
I
have
would
a
love
game
something
that's
like
not
that.
even out yet that I want roleplay to be available on, and I don't think it's going to because it sounds like it's a little bit
You're
more
gonna say
like
Harry Potter. You're gonna say Hogwarts.
No, I'm not
Legacy.
going to say Harry Potter. Thank you very much. I was
Okay.
not going to say that
All right,
actually.
I assumed.
I'm
Sorry.
talking about Nightingale.
Heard of that?
Have you guys have
I've heard
it
of
looks it's Victorian
With the portals, right?
Wild. Yeah.
It's got the portals. You can
Yeah,
teleport
the portals, you teleport to different worlds. It's kind of what is the game? Valhalla, I think it is. Is that the game?
Valheim?
Valheim. It's kind of Valheim-esque though, I think. So it's not gonna have like the roleplay capacity, but it looks like it'd be so much fun.
I'm surprised we didn't try Valheim for RP.
Text-based, man. There's no
Is it?
built-in voice.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck that. Okay, yeah.
That's the problem.
I knew Valheim was not
I-
gonna do
I-
good for it. It just
I
has
can't
build.
do. I'll do like emoting in text. That's fine. I cannot do text-based RP. I just
Yeah, it's just
It's so
kinda,
rough. Once you go
ugh.
voice, you can't go back.
first of all, I'm a voiceover actor. Like I don't. There's nothing special about me in text.
Well, I've done text-based in GTA San Andreas, but once you go to voice, it's almost impossible to go back to text-based.
100%.
So slow.
Voice is just so much more fluid, more
You can do
genuine,
more
more raw.
emotion. You can,
Yeah, exactly.
There's
and
so
like
much
the
more you can
immersion
do.
too. Like, can you imagine you doing your thing and then having to wait 5 to 10 minutes till somebody types their thing? It's like I can't. I like
Well, if you start that
responsiveness.
way, it's okay.
Yeah.
Because you can wait. Like I was on forum based. Sometimes you didn't get responses for days, and that was fine. But and when you did like in GTA San Andreas, which is where I started gaming, it was okay because it was very short. It was very like clipped what you said. There wasn't a whole lot of detail because you only had so much space. But then I went to Reign of Kings where you could talk to people, and it was like mind blowing how much better it was. Because you get the emotion of what the character is going through. You start to feel what's happening on a more like connected base. Like it's immersion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just recently joined a D&D campaign that's like play by post or whatever the hell they called it, which is text based, and I hate everything about it.
God, that sounds horrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
That does sound bad.
Most of the time, I'm like at work. I come back to like 50 messages. I'm like, I'm not reading this shit. Tell me what's happening.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Once I've jumped to voice RP with text-based emotions and like the scene-based stuff, so you can kind of get a sense of what the fuck's going on.
Right, because there's only so much you can do or say.
Like if Arc had what GTA has with regards to the / scene thing.
Oh, that's such a lifesaver.
That'd be chef's kiss, man. That would just walking into the Baratheon throne hall and smelling spices and stews and hearty ales. Like
and that's something that Conan has. Like
the POIs, yeah.
One of my characters was a werewolf that was actually gonna kill Nixie's character.
Yeah.
And so he like clawed at the door. And being able to leave the scene note that says there's claw marks on the door, everyone reacted to that.
Seeing it every day we walked in, these reminders that he almost killed her it's on our front door of our house.
Yeah, it adds to the RP for sure.
Yeah. POIs are so nice.
So
definitely.
Moving on, I think on like a different side of things, when it comes to running anything that's a community, whether it's like role playing or just being a streamer, you have to learn to deal with a lot of negative feedback as well. Not everything is going to be positive, right? How do you deal with that and keep it from affecting your personal life?
Oh shit. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, if we're going to be honest with ourselves here, I don't think for a large portion of my server hosting career I did that. I very much let it affect me in all sorts of negative ways. It took a lot of growing up, especially in the more recent years. And I know a lot of people have recognized that I'm a significantly more pleasant server owner than I was before.
I'll recognize it. I'll be on record.
I don't think I'm the best person to answer that question.
No?
No, I really don't, but I'll answer it in my own way.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I literally have had, when we lose people in the community, I've bawled my eyes out. There's
same.
all sorts of emotional attachment to running these kind of communities that, like any human, feedback is feedback that you react to. And I think the server owners that are stone cold and like, you can't DM me, are fucking robots. And there's a reason a lot of those communities don't thrive.
I completely agree.
I think the fact that I'm reactionary to my community's feedback and they tell that I give a fuck because I get upset, I get butthurt, I actually have emotions and am a human, I think has actually played into the fact that people feel like, well, this is my family. You know, fuck him, he's an asshole, but he's my asshole.
Yeah.
And he cares.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'll touch on that because I've been one of those people, and this might sound a little negative, but it's not. A bit one of those people that have gotten feedback on like, hey, Josh is this or Josh is that, right? And I've known you for long enough and we're good friends that I've been like, what you don't see is that Josh cares about his community, right? He is very, very passionate, which sometimes comes across as either like passive aggressiveness or anything like that. And but at the root of that, there is passion and there is care. And I don't think I've ever seen anybody else that I've been that I've had a connection with online that has been willing to step out of their quote unquote responsibilities to provide for somebody in the community. Like when we've lost people in the community, which we've been there several times now, when we when somebody's going through a hardship, like I've seen Josh time and time again, whether you want to say that he's an asshole or he comes across rude in messages or whatever, I've seen Josh time and time again step up for people that were less fortunate, or or just provide a like a caring emotion for people. And that goes a long way. And I think that what you just said, that communities tend to either die off or not survive when a server owner is emotionally not connected, I think hits the nail right on the head. And I don't think that applies to you at all. I don't think it's ever applied to you.
Perhaps even too much passion, you know? But yeah, there was a time. I think most of what's helped me cope with negative feedback is techniques and mechanics I've learned in therapy and my journey through mental health, which is super important, especially for a lot of role players, because a lot of role players are fucked up.
Yes.
Yeah.
If not
I think
all.
we can all agree on that.
There is a product I provide, and then there's me. And I have to remind myself quite often that the product I provide is not me. And that person that's angry with what I'm hosting, or a decision I made in game, or a decision I made for the community, is not me, the person, but it's just a choice. And I've gotten a lot better at realizing that, yeah, so-and-so can call me a fucking piece of shit because this decision made them mad, but they're still going to play on my server. They're still going to join the Discord. They might not like me, but it's okay. I know I'm a good person. I know what I would do for that person if they were down bad. I know what I've done for people that were hurting or struggling. So that's been like the biggest adjustment. And a lot of times it's very fluid, but also black and white. You either love the server but hate me, or you hate the server but love me. Sometimes you're in that middle gray area. Depends on the time of the month, That's
I
the
think
truth
that's
of it.
kind of where I fall sometimes.
Yeah, 100%.
The only reason I don't play servers like on Ark at all is one, I got burned out of Ark, and two, I got burned out of Game of Thrones. I stopped roleplaying for like a year though, and then M9 pulled me onto Conan, and now I'm stuck. He ran off to GTA.
I get it.
It's funny though, because I was gonna use the word obligation, but it's not obligation. I have this commitment to Josh, and he likes to use this thing where he's like, you haven't RP'd with me in so long, even though we probably just RP'd together. And I'll be like, all right, fuck, I'll give it a shot. And the thing is that this guy is such a good content creator. He is freaking hilarious, which is like the reason that I was like driven to his group from the very beginning. Like what somebody just said in the chat, like we are family in this community, and we've been a family, and the family grows, it shrinks, it grows again, and it's just a constant cycle, but it's just kind of what it is. When not to bring down the mood or anything, but when my brother passed away earlier this year, there were several people that hit me up or DM me, and they were mostly all from the community. And that's just kind of shows you the kind of tight knit relationships that we create, thanks to Josh.
Honestly, there are, and then to go back to what you're saying with regards to how do I deal with the negative feedback, knowing that 9 times out of 10, someone's attitude or negative perception of something pertains to whatever the fuck they got going on in their fucked up life.
Right.
I can look back at where I was a couple of years ago, 3-4 years ago, and like everything was so irritating and the easiest response to irritation and frustration in your own shit is just to lash out. And I genuinely think 90% of the people in our community have got their own skeletons, their own demons, and their own shit that they're dealing with. So it's just kind of like, all right, you're whatever. And I know a lot of people get annoyed with me because like bans don't mean shit in my community. You know, I always unban people. I always give everyone all these chances, and I'll get the spiel from someone in the community. Why do you talk to him? He's talked so much shit about you. He said all this shit, and it's like, whatever.
Yeah,
I've probably he probably stubbed his fucking toe.
I've had the same thought before about you and other people, but you're right. It happens. And not just with you, as you've been saying, but with other people. I've seen so much growth in certain people from the moment that we met to like where we are now. That you're completely right. Like, you don't know what people are going through at a certain stage of their lives, and you don't know where that person will go from here, and how being in this space, being in this community can help.
100%, bro. 100%. And that's another thing too. Like for me, how much effort does it really take to be upset about something? A ton, right?
A ton.
You gotta sit there and think about it and bitch about it and brood about it. You're like, oh no, another person typed I'm an asshole. Fuck. But that's easier to do when you're happier with you. And that wasn't something I was for a really long time while hosting these things. And that's why I feel like I'm a much better server owner now, because I'm pretty content with who I am now.
Yeah.
You know, a couple years ago, I literally described myself as just a piece of shit, a joke, nobody. I really went through it.
Yeah, that's a very real feeling and emotion. It's just, we kind of all go through it, right?
Of course. And then when you have people like, you fucking suck, you're a dickhead, you're an asshole, your server sucks, and you're like, yeah, I do fucking suck, fuck you. It gets to you.
For sure. Yeah, I've gone through my fair share of like mental struggles this year, and yeah, it's like any little thing can trigger or make it worse, right? And so like when it takes a lot of courage to expose yourself to that type of thing when you know that you're vulnerable. And I think that was something that you were doing for a long time. So when you are yourself trying to react, or some people are saying like, I don't know why he's rude or he's an asshole or whatever. It's like, I mean, look at the shit he's got to go through. So it's like there's a lot of reactionary stuff, and we don't know what people are going through in their personal lives.
Another thing though, a lot of people take emotion when it's simple time. If my response is 3 words to you, it's because I have 400 other tickets I'm responding to.
Yeah.
There is no emotion other than "K, goodbye." Now, you could read "K, goodbye" as, oh, what the fuck? Okay, fuck him.
Yeah.
And that's how 80% of the people do look at it. And for me, it's like, I just typed the same fucking message to 600 people because I have another 300 tickets.
Yeah, there's so much that can be lost in translation when it comes to text.
And that's 90% of where the problem is. It's just like, oh, you typed that thing to me, you dick. And I'm just like, what's a good example of something that's always so misconstrued? A simple why. The question why. You tell me you're happy, and I say why. Now you're thinking to yourself, why does this bitch not want me happy?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here like, tell me why you're happy. There's a difference. One fucking word.
Yeah. And everyone's way of reading things can just misconstrue the whole
Because
thing.
in your head, you can hear the word why and think of it as why, but really it could be why. Like it's all in tone with stuff like that. So reading it is so easy to misunderstand what was the intention.
And another thing, when you look at yourself and you're like, I'm a piece of shit, why is always going to be why.
Yeah.
But when you're happy, why is the why. That's amazing. So that's another reason and another basis behind the way I typically approach players that are, like, I don't know if you've noticed, perhaps you have, but 80% of the community now is just nonsense, shit talk, jokes. And a few years ago, I'd be like, oh, how dare they say this about me? Oh my God. Now it's just like, you're being fucking funny. That's not true. I know it's not true. That's actually hilarious. Let's have a laugh together. And it's freeing. It really is. And that's why I'm a huge proponent to people in this community, especially getting fucking mental health in check.
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely support mental health movement. It's um something actually, and this is probably off topic when it comes to roleplay, but I think it's important for all of us is I will expose myself and say that I wasn't really the type of person that I was like like what do you have to have anxiety over? Like that's and or I will say shit like Hispanic people don't get anxiety. That's not the way that it is, right? Like, but it was like growing up a certain way or growing up in a specific culture or an upbringing. Sometimes you learn to hide certain things either about yourself or about the people around you, and maybe we were all exposed to like anxiety and depression and things like that, but it wasn't something that was talked about or even discussed at all in any way, especially when it comes to like, for example, my dad or people from like an older generation. So we just didn't know what it was to identify it, and I think that nowadays it's so important for people to be self-aware, aware of others, and know what the things that you could do or say, how they might affect others, or they could affect yourself in the long run. Mental health is important. All.
Yeah, and a lot of people got their shit way out of check.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
I just feel like there's been good, like, societal conversation around it though. That's been a lot more open, especially on internet space in general. Things like you see people advocating for online therapies all the time now. That was never a thing for ages. It's just been more accessible to talk about it, be more vulnerable to stuff like that, which has been really nice to see just in general society.
Yeah.
We're still getting there, but
I think people are starting to really understand that we're all a little bit fucked up in our own way.
Right. And that it's okay.
Yep.
To like understand that and work on it. The biggest problem was being able to talk about it without being judged, without being called a pussy, or without being basically talked down to every time that you showed a bit of vulnerability.
100%.
But to start wrapping this up, I'm gonna ask one more question. And maybe you've already answered this through conversation, but we can summarize it. What is something that 2022 CircaSkys wish he could tell or teach a much younger you that was just thinking about starting his community?
This is gonna get deep. Shit.
We like to do that on this podcast. We like to delve into the questions people don't usually like to talk about.
So I have a lot of personal stuff going on right now. And that's gonna, believe it or not, the decision and the thing that I would have to tell myself back then really isn't even based around this community or hosting. It's just, you're worth more than you think you are. So don't settle for what you have, because you can get better.
That's great advice.
Yeah,
that's great advice.
Something that...
Especially when you think about the conversation we just had when it comes to mental health and things like that. That's something that you have to learn to tell yourself. And if I could go back and just that specific line you just said, make sure that it was ingrained, it would be very helpful.
And it applies to everyone. Everyone And there's so many people that don't know this about themselves. You are literally, if you think about what the world is and what life is, this is getting real fucking existential here. Whatever, how many quadrillions of things are in the universe out there in the world, you are you. There's no one else like you. And you get to share this small little piece of the pie in the grand scheme of things with the same people that are doing it right now with you. Any person in the world can do what I've done, can do what a president's done, can do what some of the greatest Nobel Peace Prize winning fuckers have done, if you believe it, and if someone gives you the path to do it. And the biggest obstacle isn't the path, it's yourself.
For sure. Yeah, that is
I really do feel like when you say like you're worth it though, like it feels like what you said for what you would say to your past self. When I was going through a whole lot of really bad shit a few years ago, like that felt like a cliche thing to say. Like that's not like whatever you say that, but looking back on it now, you really have to like, yeah, they say that, but that's because it's true, because it you mean it. Things like you're worth more than you think you are.
Well, the reason it's cliche is because you didn't believe it.
Yeah, exactly. And like you look on it back on it now and you're like, man, I wish I would have believed it at the time. So that's always such a hard thing, is like you do need to realize that it's not, it does get better.
Yeah.
And that's as bad as it sounds, so cliche, but it's because
I think one of the things as well that you have to like telling yourself that often and learning to believe it is important, because of the fact that even if you believe it today, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow to make you question that. And I think that if you have something like it's been a hell of a year for me. If you have shit that makes you question your morality or who you are as a person or whatever, you have to default back to those times that you actually did believe that. And if you're telling yourself often that you are worth it, that you are more than what you are now, it can help you. It can help you get out of that rut or whatever you might be going through at the moment.
100%. And that's why I love hosting servers around this time too, is because knowing how fucked up everybody is, there are genuinely people in this community that don't have anyone for the holidays, but they are actively stoked for the fucking Christmas events in a game that they play thousands of hours for. But because I put in an extra hour's effort and get people together singing stupid songs, answering dumb questions, and just hanging out, they get that.
Yep.
That no one else could give them. And all I have to do is log into my computer and try a little bit. I can make a holiday for someone. So worth it.
Right. And then when you really think about that, is it's you versus 60 to 80 people. It's effort from you and maybe your staff or whatever that brings this whole community and makes a difference for so many people. Just a little bit of effort from one person or a few.
Yeah, and I've had the real fortunate pleasure of seeing it pan out in live, as we'll say. You know, I brought this up many a times. There's this racist fucking 14-year-old kid in the Minecraft days that just was a piece of shit, but I never gave up on him. And while I banned his ass a lot, he always came back. And then I was like 28 years old, and I get a fucking picture on Facebook. He's in his full Marine garb, got all these awards. It's like, bro, you taught me everything. You showed me how to be a decent person. I just graduated Marine Corps. I'm the leader of a fucking platoon. I learned how to lead people through you and running kingdoms.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much for saving me. And I'm just like, okay, it's worth it. I'm doing something.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest realizations for me as a person. Like I might never have kids, but I feel like I've actually raised hundreds now at this point. And just to see that, I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing is real, you know, because there's a lot of like, I don't know, we're running short of time here, but
no, you're good.
As a man in this society, if you think about like what my source of income is, it's not a typical 9 to 5. There are people that look at it like, the fuck is that? You bum? They don't know the numbers associated with it, but even myself, a lot of times I've had a hard time grasping the fact that I am a provider. I do have success in a non-conventional career.
Mm-hmm. An influencer.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
In my own little weird way.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. I don't know what the fuck else I was gonna say. Went on a tangent there.
No, I think it was great. And I think the fact that there's, you know, some people will watch streams or like pop into your stream or somebody else's stream or watch a video on TikTok about like role players, and on the outside looking in, it seems like a very like just flat thing, right? Like you're just doing one thing. But a lot of people don't realize that there's so much more to what we're doing, and there's a whole community behind that stream that you're watching. And there's community that will support you. There's a community that will be there when you're down. There's a community that no matter what you like venture into, they'll be there. And I think that that's awesome. And that's one of the reasons that we wanted to make this podcast, was not only just to talk about like role players and the best like role playing that they've had. It's more about like exposing the community for what we are. And it's not just voice actors or people just having fun in a video game. It's a community itself, and there's a lot that goes along with it.
Yeah, it's no easy feat, I'll be honest. I don't even know why the fuck I still do it sometimes, but then I'm reminded in those moments.
Yeah, you gotta remember all of those things, like you said, like
exactly.
These lives that you've touched, these stories that you create go well beyond the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and the best part is when you see these people that meet each other in your community get married and shit. You're just like, okay,
yeah,
that's fucking cute. You guys are gross, but that's fucking cute.
And Josh is basically like, I did that. That was me.
Oh, I take full credit. They had no chance in hell if it wasn't for my community. They clearly don't have a healthy relationship, save for this community. So I take all the credit in the world. No one will take that.
You should probably also take credit for all the heartbreak.
I don't know what you're talking about. I have never caused any divorces or relationship management issues. No, not all.
Nope, we don't talk about
Not at all. That's a topic for another episode. But Josh, thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
I swear, like, even when we did this as like a very simple thing in GTA the other day, we had a lot of fun talking. And I knew that bringing you on out of character was gonna be great. Was gonna be a great conversation. So thank you for
anytime, any topic. You want to talk about aliens?
Get to talk to you again too.
I know. Come play Ark.
I haven't been on Ark for a very long time, but it's
get over your burnout. Come have some fun.
Thank you. I'm having fun. Thank you.
Yeah. So.
But it's good to get to talk to you again.
As Nixie linked in the link tree, there's all the different places that you can listen to the podcast itself. If you don't want to just listen to the VOD here on Twitch, Spotify, Apple Music, all the good things.
He edits it down and everything, so it's a nice, neat, not a 2-hour stream like the first episode was.
They've been pretty good standard since the first episode that we just went on a tangent.
Since we went crazy.
But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out. Nixie, I'm glad that you're feeling better and that you're back on the show.
Yeah.
So we will see you on the next episode. We might have another server owner on, or modder, or role player. We'll see.
Yeah, next week we have our guest lined up. So
yeah. So
thank you so much for having me. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much for joining us, Josh.
Thank you guys for hanging out, and we'll see you next time.